Adrian Constantine Anson, better known as Cap, was a 4-time batting champ, 8-time RBI champ, and as manager, led teams to 5 National League pennants. Inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1939 as a player, he was also a visionary, being one of the minds behind the concept of spring training. He's a fascinating figure to research, and upon doing so, I came across a number of discrepancies regarding his numbers. In a career that spanned 27 seasons in professional ball, known mostly for his time with the Chicago White Stockings, later known as the Colts, where he played for 22 years, he also managed in 19 of them. He left the franchise after the 1897 season, when they couldn't finish better than 4th place in the previous 7 years. The team was left without a manager for the first time ever, and were thus nicknamed the Orphans for 4 seasons, for they had lost their pop, another nickname given to Anson. They would eventually change their name for good to the Cubs in 1902. I took a stroll to various websites looking for more info. According to some all-time lists, Cap compiled 3,056 hits, though individual pages listing career accomplishments only credit him with 2995. Other sites showed him racking up as many as 3415 and 3418 hits, including his playing time in the National Association. Even the Baseball Hall of Fame site listed him with 3,081. Many sources with many different answers. Let's start with some basic facts. First off, he played in the National Association from 1871 to 1875, 1 season with the Rockland Forest Cities, and the remaining with the Philadelphia A's, not to be confused with the different American League franchise that began in 1901 and now calls Oakland home. He then moved to the National League. Here are numbers that were published in January of 2005. The first 2 columns show the number of total hits credited throughout his National League career by Major League Baseball and BaseballAlmanac.com. They're similar. To the right, the totals given by the Hall of Fame and BaseballReference.com. In 1887, he walked 60 times, a number which was recorded the same by all sources. I'll explain why this is being shown in a minute. So doing a little bit of quick math, you can see a lot of people were still not on the same page when it came to Cap's career, and it would take a bit more digging to unearth some truths. I wrote a friendly email to the folks at Baseball Almanac with several inquiries. Should lifetime stats include numbers from the National Association? And why is there so much difference between sources regarding certain years of his playing? Their quick response was this. Anson's, quote, correct hits total amongst historians is 3418. Major League Baseball has said that the National Association is not an official league. They actually have a full press release out there about this exact topic, saying it's not officially recognized as a league and their stats should be used for informational purposes only. With that said, let's deduct 423 hits. His new correct total is 2995. In 1887, walks were counted as hits, so we add 60 walks to the 164 hits he gathered that year and come up with 224. In the 1960s, they removed those walks from the hits column to restore order in the hits. But in 2000, Major League Baseball ordered that they be put back. And Jerome Holtzman, their official historian, even wrote an article about the restoration of the data. So with that, we need to add 60 back to the 164. A side note, if I may, the National Association is not considered a major league by historians due to the erratic scheduling of games and constant shuffling of its own rules, but is recognized as the first professional baseball league. Back to math, Cap's new correct total is 3,055. 3,056 was actually the number on Baseball Almanac's site, and the discrepancy with his other page was fixed. As it turned out, their page had the wrong total for his 1889 season, crediting him with just 161 hits, not 177. They don't even bother listing any stats from the National Association. Here's a funny thing. MLB's site does include his National Association stats, but does not add the walks. They have said that both these will be fixed in the future, but there were more important items to do at the time. In the case of the Hall of Fame, they do not and will not change any statistical error to their plaques. Their own researchers have found many errors, but will not change the plaques and prefer to keep the numbers as they once were, right or wrong. There was a theory floating around that in many cases, hits were or weren't credited to Anson due to some end-of-season totals not matching up with individual box scores, so the numbers were fudged. Back to the present time, MLB has removed all National Association stats from Anson's page, but the Baseball Reference and Hall of Fame sites keep them, although the latter fixed the hits total in 1887 back to 164. After taking some time to rest my spinning head from the confusion, I decided to return a few years later and see where we were. To my surprise, some of the numbers became aligned. Somewhere between 2016 and now, the Hall of Fame changed Anson's number of hits in 12 different seasons. Baseball Reference still has a one-hit discrepancy in the 1894 season, so he either compiled 132 or 133 hits that year. Baseball Reference also credits Cap with one extra walk than the Almanac for the same year, 41-40. It's documented that Cap recorded his 3,000th career hit on July 18, 1897, at the West Side grounds against the Baltimore Orioles' George Blackburn, thus becoming the first player to ever attain the feat. Considering it was his last season in the majors, and he acquired 121 hits that year in 114 games, it seems likely that 3,011 or 3,012 is his correct career total. For now.